Welcome back, friends. Today we explore the dramatic life of Robert Oppenheimer, the brilliant physicist, forever known as the father of the atomic bomb. His story is one of triumph and tragedy, of genius intertwined with guilt. Few figures in modern history carry such a heavy legacy. This is not just a biography, it is a moral drama. Imagine holding knowledge so powerful it could end a war, yet also threaten humanity's existence. Would you dare to use it? Oppenheimer lived that question, and his choices reshaped the 20th century. Born in 1904 New York City, Robert was raised in privilege. His father, Julius, built a successful textile business, and his mother, Ella, filled their home with art and music. Surrounded by books and culture, Robert grew into a child of boundless curiosity, preferring ideas over games. Teachers quickly saw his extraordinary talent. He memorized entire pages after one reading, mastered science experiments with ease, and quoted literature far beyond his age. Socially awkward but intellectually dazzling, he stood apart from his peers. At Harvard, Oppenheimer accelerated through his studies. Graduating in only 3 years, he explored physics with passion, but also immersed himself in philosophy and literature. Learning Sanskrit, he read the Bhagavad Gita, a text that would haunt him years later when his work changed the world. Seeking deeper knowledge, he traveled to Europe. At Göttingen in Germany, he studied under Max Born and collaborated with pioneers like Heisenberg and Dirac. His work on quantum mechanics quickly established him as one of the most promising young theorists of his generation. Returning to America, Oppenheimer joined Berkeley and Caltech as a professor. His lectures were electrifying, filled with intensity and imagination. Students said he made physics sound like poetry, turning abstract concepts into living ideas. Yet his high expectations could intimidate even the brightest. But the 1930 seconds brought crisis. Fascism was spreading, and Jewish scientists fled Hitler's Europe. Rumors surfaced that Germany was pursuing atomic research. Science was no longer confined to universities, it had become a matter of survival. In 1939, Albert Einstein and Leo Szilard warned Roosevelt that nuclear fission could yield terrible weapons. By 1942, the Manhattan Project was underway. To lead it, the U.S. government turned to Oppenheimer. Though untested as a leader, his charisma and vision made him the unlikely commander. Los Alamos, New Mexico became the project's heart. A barren desert was transformed into a secret city of soldiers, scientists, and families. Nobel laureates scribbled equations in guarded labs while children played behind barbed wire fences. Oppenheimer thrived in the chaos, weaving it into coordinated effort. The pressure was crushing. Experiments often failed, egos clashed, and secrecy weighed heavily on all. Yet Oppenheimer held the team together, reminding them of the stakes. If they faltered, Hitler's scientists might succeed first. His leadership turned doubt into determination. Unlike a military commander, he led with inspiration. He quoted poetry, asked sharp questions, and made his colleagues feel their work was part of something far larger than themselves. Many admitted they pushed harder, simply to earn his approval. By July 1945, the effort reached its climax. The Trinity Test would reveal whether years of sacrifice had produced success or catastrophe. In the New Mexico desert, scientists and soldiers braced for history's first nuclear explosion. At 5:29 a.m., the bomb detonated. A fireball erupted brighter than the sun, rising into a vast mushroom cloud. The earth trembled, and silence fell over the observers. Some shouted with joy, others stood stunned in horror. Humanity had entered the nuclear age. Later, Oppenheimer recalled words from the Bhagavad Gita. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." It was not triumph, but confession. He knew at once that the world had changed forever, and the burden of that knowledge would never leave him. Weeks later, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were destroyed. Over 200,000 lives were lost in fire and shadow. The war ended, but victory came at a staggering cost. Oppenheimer's creation had saved lives and taken them on an unimaginable scale. To the public, he was celebrated as a hero. Newspapers called him the man who ended the war. Yet in private, he was tormented. Meeting President Truman, he admitted he felt blood on his hands. Truman dismissed him, but the guilt never left. As the Cold War dawned, the U.S. turned to the hydrogen bomb. Oppenheimer resisted, warning it was a weapon of annihilation, with no moral boundary. His opposition angered powerful leaders, who saw caution as weakness. In 1954, his enemies moved against him. Oppenheimer faced a humiliating security hearing accused of communist sympathies. Colleagues turned against him, and the government stripped his clearance. His influence vanished overnight. The fall was devastating. Once celebrated, he was now cast out. He returned to teaching and writing, admired by students, but marked by sorrow. He had shaped history, but was rejected by those he served. Recognition came late. In 1963, President Johnson awarded him the Fermi Award, a small attempt at redemption. Oppenheimer accepted with dignity, though he knew honors could not erase betrayal or Hiroshima. His life was full of contradictions. He was a scientist who loved poetry, a patriot accused of treason, a leader both inspiring and feared. His story was not simple. It was tangled with brilliance and burden. Even today, his questions remain. Should science advance without limits? Can discovery exist without morality? Once knowledge is unleashed, can it ever be controlled? These are the dilemmas Oppenheimer leaves us. Some call him a hero who ended World War II. Others see him as a tragic figure who unleashed humanity's darkest weapon. The truth lies in between. He was both savior and warning. Those who knew him spoke of his humanity. He loved literature and nature, charmed some and alienated others. His presence was unforgettable, intense, restless, carrying the weight of the cosmos in his gaze. He once said, "In the debate about the atomic bomb, I carry no weight on my conscience. I carried it in the only way I could." It was the voice of a man resigned to choices he could not undo. Oppenheimer's story is a warning. Knowledge is power, but power without conscience can destroy us. The bomb was not just a weapon, it was a mirror, reflecting humanity's brilliance and its darkness. Yet his story also proves what people can achieve. In only a few years, his team accomplished what once seemed impossible. Their success shows the extraordinary potential of intellect and collaboration. But the real lesson lies in what followed. Oppenheimer tried to warn the world. Discovery without responsibility leads to ruin. His life remains a reminder of that truth. As he famously quoted, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."